Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Convention with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We're about the midway point, so let's kick things off with Alien number 6. Where we left off, Steel Team, what was left of them, were dealing with, among other things, betrayal. As the lone human survivor had been chucked into the hive by one of the remaining members. So our two remaining members of Steel Team duke it out a bit, and the girl's saved, obviously, but Steel Team is injured, at least what's left of them. Of course, the military showed up to extract them. And the military forces are probably wiped out by the hybrid creature thing that has formed, and it's left on the planet while the two survivors of Steel Team and the surviving human manage to escape. Our two remaining members of Steel Team get repairs done aboard the military vessel. However, in the something is growing. In the remains of Toddler 9. What's growing? Well, it appears to be whatever the we won't know until the beginning of the next Alien series, likely. Even then, probably a few or even further in. But it likely something along that. This is the end of Philip Kennedy Johnson's run on Alien, and the end of the current series. I kind of feel like Marvel was trying to replicate what Dark Horse did with having loosely connected stories in the same universe that would eventually build to something bigger, but trying to market it as an ongoing, I don't think was the best idea for that in that respect. Anyway, moving on though to our next book. Well, even with my criticisms, I did enjoy the ride that Philip Kennedy Johnson took us readers on. Moving on to our next book, though, we've got Star Wars, Darth Vader number 31. Where we left off, Sabe was in the clutches of Yul Tambor, while Vader was basically making his pitch to the remaining handmaidens about working with him. So we open with with Anakin thinking how things should have gone on Mustafar all those years ago, and then how they actually went on Brental 4. Vader brings the handmaids to the Umbaran, Sly Moore, and Moore basically says how it is that they can get what they all want if they work with if they serve Vader. Then basically Vader has them deal with Yul Tambor's forces, preying upon their, manipulating their desire to do the right thing. Tambor also does what he does his bit to be the villain to Sabe. The handmaidens and Vader fight off Tambor's forces, defending the area that Tambor's targeted, while Vader goes and rescues Sabe, dealing with Tambor's henchmen and rescuing Sabe. Some of the tech that the handmaids have proves useful in keeping Tambor on the planet side, but Sabe now has to make a choice: continue to serve Lord Vader or rejoin her sisters, and that is where the issue ends. This is definitely an interesting arc. Obvious, the Darth Vader series is not is very clearly a book that will not be continuing on after a certain point. After all, Vader dies at the end of Return of the Jedi, and well, the Star Wars comics are by and large hurtling towards Return of the Jedi. So yeah. Moving on though to our next book, we've got Star Wars Hidden Empire number 3. Where we left off, Lady Kira has sent a group known as the Orphans to protect the Archivist and Kofan Ferris, whom Vader is coming for. Turns out that the leader of the Orphans is a woman named Chanath Cha. 12 years previously, Chanath Cha's mother and father were killed by Vader. She swore vengeance, entered the Emperor's service, did horrible things, and also learned about Vader's skills, and put together an army, her orphans. Vader just kind of gives the M. Bison speech from Street Fighter. The day M. Bison came to your village was the most important day in your life. But to M. Bison, it was a Tuesday. Same basic speech. But Vader then stating that, at the end, I've already forgotten your name. But, they've got Chanath Cha manages to slow Vader down with some acid, though he walks into a body of water to dissipate the acid, while the orphans work on getting Kofan Ferris and the Archivist out, as well as the Fermat Cage. But they've got a plan, basically, they're going to deal with Vader, while two of the orphans get the Archivist and Kofan Ferris to Lady Kira. During the fight, Vader learns that Lady Kira is not in fact dead, despite the Emperor's thoughts on the matter. They do what they can to try to take out Vader, failing miserably. One of the orphans, who's a droid, is instructed by Lady Kira to return to the fleet with Kofan Ferris and the Archivist, but he insists on trying to save Chanath. However, the Archivist disassembles the droid. Chanath Cha is killed at Vader's hand, and the Archivist and Co head towards Lady Kira, who explains to Gadelia why she didn't send backup. It's basically kind of a, sure, Vader probably knows that she's still alive. However, it's best not to let them know what the extent of her. It's best if they simply think of her as being alive and on the run, as opposed to alive and holed up with a massive fleet at her disposal. Also, that Chanath Cha thought that she was the main character in a story. While she is the character in a story, she's simply a character in Kira's, and that is where the issue ends. I liked the speech Vader gave about how, well, you know what, the speech in question, it's quite good, actually. You spent your life on a crusade of which I was entirely unaware, that did not affect me at all. All that time, you stopped nothing for me, while I prevented you from doing everything. I have already forgotten your name. Like I said, it feels a lot like the speech that M. Bison gave in the Street Fighter movie from the 90s. It was a Tuesday. Moving on to our last book for the moment, we've got Miracleman, the Silver Age, number 4. Where we left off, Dickie Dauntless had left Olympus after Miracleman made an unwanted advance towards him, and ended up in the Himalayas. So we begin apparently in a church that worships Miracleman as being an embodiment of God's divinity. But an alien shows up during the service, then heads back to Olympus. Fawn Muda is sent to speak with the Black Warpsmiths, the Black Warpsmiths want her report on her thoughts and feelings on the confluent world. They say that it feels she feels like it's the strangest world she's been to. The miracle people are the symbol of the world. They embody it, and they symbolize everything for everyone. The Warpsmiths help them create a world, but the world seems wrong in ways that she doesn't grasp. The Black Warpsmiths ask why she's never brought this up before, but then she explains that, well, she's never been asked for her feelings on the matter before. She continues her report, but there are things happening at the edge of the universe that are also of great import. Namely, the Whisper. Miracleman and Miraclewoman are discussing the situation with Dickie, and Miraclewoman stands by her thoughts on the matter, having advised Miracleman to make the stated advance. In the Himalayas, Dickie's looking for advice, and Caxton kind of just, doesn't realize that it's young Miracleman he's talking to. But one of the things he asks is, you know, one thing that Dickie asks is why, why leave everything? Why come up to the mountain and to live? And he's like, well, you know, once you got everything you want, what do you do then? But Caxton says that Dickie needs answers, and he's not going to find them there, suggesting that he go back to where he came from. After Miracleman has taken his leave of Miraclewoman, he starts to wonder, just tries to get some insight into Dickie's mind state, looking over the old stories, which leads to a reprinting of sort of young Marvel Man meeting young Nasty Man, arch rival and nemesis to Wonder Boy with powers comparable to Wonder Boy's. It's a fairly simple, old-timey superhero story. Good guy fights bad guy. Bad guy has powers from a similar source, and similar to the hero with a similar source. But Miracleman is left with questions as he gazes out into space. That is where the issue ends. This is definitely going to end up being a very interesting story once it's all said and done. But that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.